Cool. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? My name is Jordan Walton, and welcome to the 1025 podcast. This is our first episode. I am the host, along with two very special friends of mine. Would y'all care to introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Achonti. I'm a sophomore at West Georgia, and I'm really excited about this.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Kristen, and I'm really excited about this too.
Okay. And I'm really excited about this too. I've been talking about this for a minute. So now we're going to be talking about a few current topics relating to entertainment and some stuff that affects the Black community as a whole. Let me share screen with y'all. Okay. So we all know Lil' Kim, right? Special icon when it comes to music. Well, a few weeks ago, she was on, let me stop this real quick. Okay, a few weeks ago, she was on IG Live with Fat Joe. He's another well-known rapper. And she was talking about how she doesn't get her just due when it comes to other female rappers and other female celebrities, giving her props like Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, and all of them. And then she talks about some really stupid stuff about starting an OnlyFans. Sure, we all know what that is.
Yeah.
And it's very weird to see how an icon of Lil' Kim's status is kind of dwindling and trying to do stuff for attention.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily dwindling. I think she's fitting in with the age that we're in, with the overconsumption of media, I guess.
Yeah.
And she's the person we can watch. I mean, we have regular YouTubers creating OnlyFans, not necessarily just a way intimately, but as another source of money. We don't know if she's doing this for a monetary reason or she's doing this because she feels comfortable in her relationship.
Right.
So it's another example of how relationships are just becoming really like public relationships are becoming really intimate with us, the general public.
Right. And the main reason, sorry to cut you off, the main reason why I said dwindling is because it's kind of crazy to think that, in my eyes, I view her along with Nicki Minaj as two of the most influential, female rappers like of all time. And the fact that we're seeing an icon of her doing something that not a lot of people would find pretty weird. I mean, of course, yeah, for monetary reason, but the fact that she's doing it is like, I'm not sure about it,
Yeah, but you have. So, who would you consider one of the most iconic artists right now?
Beyond
rappers go.
As far as female rappers, I would say Nicki Minaj. I know Cardi B talked about doing an OnlyFans like that because she was going to do the behind the scenes of WAP, and we're going to be talking about that later on. But I would say Nicki Minaj.
Okay,
of course, Lil' Kim. Yeah, of the modern era, I would say Nicki Minaj.
Okay. I wanted to ask Kristen, do you think would it be odd for Nicki Minaj to create an OnlyFans?
No.
Not
only because she would see the market for it based off the over exploitation of Black women.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. I mean, even during Little where she was so she was not necessarily praised, but just so admired, I guess.
Yeah.
Because she was so like expressive sexually. So even in OnlyFans now, if OnlyFans was available then, I'm pretty sure people would still view it. And if she was how old she was now and created an OnlyFans, I mean, people would probably still view it just because of her history of not promiscuous, but just a sexual rapper.
Yeah. And I like, sorry about that. And I like how you kind of brought up how she was very expressive, because that was like one of the main things about Nicki when she started out. She had that very colorful, expressive type of personality, wearing the colorful outfits, the pink wigs and all that. So I really credit Lil' Kim for the creation of Nicki Minaj, the birth of Nicki and Cardi.
Yeah. And of course, other female rappers from that era. It wasn't necessarily just Lil' Kim, but it was certainly it was a package deal with how they expressed. R&B artists during the 90s, specifically. But yeah, the thing is uh, how willing we are to consume this, which audience of people are going to be going to this OnlyFans. Is it going to be people from our generation or other couples possibly? Like, who's going to be buying? That's the most important thing for me, because I feel like people want to, because we're just it's always in our face. People, to see Little Kim on OnlyFans. I'm not sure. Did she say that there was going to be explicit or sexual?
She didn't. I don't think she said anything about explicit content. Maybe she was talking about maybe like previewing some new music she had, because I think she did an album. I think two or last year, right? And it wasn't received very well. It didn't really sell that much. You would think with Lil Kim, she was gonna sell like mad records. She sold like 900 copies. So it's like she needs to find a way to kind of bring that charm and bring that back when it comes to music, when it comes to fans, and when it comes to like promotion and all that.
Okay. I definitely see what you're going at, but as far as from what I read, I think it was actually in the context of it being sexual, because she's recently just gotten back together with, I think, who is her child's father. I forgot what his name was, but you guys can go look at the story later.
Yeah.
And she was just like, this could just be an exciting venture, and she was like, I'm 75 to 85% sure that I would want to do it. And she says she would feel comfortable with putting their business out there.
Yeah.
So, but
even when quarantine started, like that would have been a very lucrative business venture for many people. But it's just kind of crazy now that, and hopefully everything is going well out there, with the virus and all that. I'm wondering though, when COVID ends, is OnlyFans still going to be like a lucrative thing now?
It was.
I think it still will.
Yeah.
And I'm only saying that because sites such as Pornhub are still profiting off of the sexual exploitation of women.
Right.
Even before, during, and after quarantine.
Yeah, just in general. If, you can name any number of popular, not even just female rappers, but popular artists who invite us into their lives. I guess people are paying money to, see different content, or like, it doesn't always have to be sexual,
right?
But less available content, because that's what Only is. You subscribe to see things you wouldn't normally see on their other platforms,
right?
So it's a normal. She's just hopping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, we can basically say she is hopping on it, but only time will really tell when it comes to what she's gonna do as an artist and how she's gonna progress.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
All right, so let's. Any final words about the Lil Kim topic? Any with you, Kristen? All right, let's go to the next one. Okay. Now here's a second topic that you all recommended. Has internet couples gone too far? Now, I've seen videos and unpopular opinions from fellow YouTubers about internet couples are very cringy. It's very it's just weird, especially when they have kids. It's like they're trying to, how can I say this, shove their kids down your throats, like, oh my God, are they adorable? Look at them. And it's almost like we really don't want to see them, We really don't even want to see you, to be honest with you, because it's like, y'all, they try so hard to be, here's everything about my personal life, I'm putting all our business out there,
Because it's lucrative. People will go watch those YouTube videos, subscribe to their accounts, follow them on Instagram, because I guess it's kind of outside of the American dream now. It's just like, I'm going to follow them because that's what I want. It's just mostly, this is the content that we're getting from these artists or YouTubers or, you know, anything else in between that now have families or, you know, like, are engaged or like couples. You always see content like this now. And I added that in the context of the Little Kim situation because, well, if another YouTuber or like if another artist or YouTuber or whatever, anything else in between, like I said, made this, which you guys, do you think we'd be comfortable enough to subscribe or like any, would it be normal? And we already kind of, it's been normalized.
Yeah. I don't think, I think it would be normal if it wasn't such a big name person. You know, Lil Kim is a big name person. She's a big name artist. If we go to like some regular smegular type people, then it's like, you know, we really don't really care that much. But since it's an icon like Lil Kim, it's like, oh, let's go over, let's support, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to talk about that, because in like the general theme of, you know, people opening up their lives to us, is it too much? Is it too much? Or I personally think it's too much. There's just certain,
I think it's too much too. Because even if we look at somebody like, let's say, Kim Kardashian, she has her personal life, her whole family, everything just on TV,
well,
you know?
that's the Kardashian business. It's the
Right.
family.
Right.
They're lucrative entities in themselves.
Right.
You know, so.
But we also made. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you can go.
But we also made a culture of peering into everyone else's lives. We want to know every single second of their lives.
Yeah.
We even had MTV Cribs. We had closet tours. We had YouTube hauls. Everything. We want to see every single second of someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you make an excellent point, and you make an excellent. And something that's most worrying about me is just we're always these images are always being thrown at us. So it's kind of like personality. We are following these people, and are the expectation of marriage and children or just relationships, are they greater now? Do we have great expectations for these mundane everyday like events of marriage and relationships? You think we have greater expectations now?
I think we do, and we're very quick to judge. You know, many people try to paint themselves, even on social media, we try to paint ourselves as we have this amazing life. We're living life like it's golden. We're, you know what I'm saying? We just have everything, a great home, great kids, great wife, all that. And then when something doesn't go according to plan, people are quick to say, oh, forget this person, you know, forget it, you know, let's cancel them. Simple. When you show these people in your private lives, they feel like they're obligated. They have a sense of entitlement when it comes to we can just judge you and it don't matter, you know?
Yeah, not Sims characters. They're not going to do exactly what we expect them to, because we've created because they've created such an intimate relationship, it's like we're an audience, we're an interactive audience. You're canceled because on your live stream, which I watch every single day, you said something that I did not like. But most of the people, I think we're in over our heads with that. We're definitely.
Yeah. And I think that's the main thing that's like one of the toxic things about social media, is that we are quick to just jump on our phones and type something and just send it out there. We don't really think about, can this like mentally hurt somebody? Can this like cause them to go down a downward spiral? You know, we're quick. We don't think. We just send it and just go on with our day. But there are people out here who is really like dealing with stuff like that.
Even beyond like personally speaking, I know I have to take a break from social media because, like you said, even though I've never gotten any like disastrous comments, I celebrities or people whose lives are always in like a very open way, that they have to break for social media, because that is just so emotionally difficult. I mean, not to like pity them, but still.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely cons to having your life out there 24/7. and they're the cons of it.
Yeah. What about you, Kristen? What's your thoughts on it?
I don't have any at the moment, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. I guess we can move on now. So let's share it one more time. All right. Now, this is a very important topic, colorism. You know, a lot of people have been talking about this recently. They've been talking about positive reaffirmations. And one of the topics that I was thinking about personally when it came to colorism was the Zoe Saldana incident. I don't know if you guys will, of course, because we briefed about it. A few years ago, I believe in 2016, Zoe Saldana played Nina Simone in one of the most famous artists, one of my personal favorite artists of all time, in a biopic, and it caused a lot of controversy. For one, she had to wear blackface and a prosthetic nose and teeth to fully look like Nina, even though Zoe Saldana is Afro-Dominican. And most recently in an interview, she came out saying she wished she never played Nina. She wished she worked hard to, get a black actress to play, Miss Simone. And I just feel it's a spit on Nina Simone's legacy, the fact that Zoe Saldana would take on a role, and all that controversy she was like dragged on social media for it. She even went on Sway in the Morning saying, I don't hate myself for being black and then all that. And basically people were just saying, she basically said, I'm sorry, I'm not black enough, which a lot of people deal with too.
Yeah, I think this, generally speaking, colorism and media is very toxic, I guess. And kind of going back to what you said about positive reaffirmations or seeing yourself in media, we're constantly consuming media. We just talked about it kind of with the whole OnlyFans thing.
Yeah.
So for children that are growing up in an environment, I think even being exposed to biopics like Nina Simone, that could have been someone's first exposure to that artist herself,
right.
I guess. But it's important that we stay true to the characteristics of people, because that could have been another actress's opportunity. And you said that Zoe Saldana actually fought to make sure that someone actually emulated Nina Simone got the part, right?
Yeah, in a most recent interview on IG Live, she was talking about, I should have did that. I should have recommended that role to another actress. Because even for me, if I was gonna make a Nina Simone biopic, I would have cast someone like Viola Davis, India Arie. I would have casted even someone like Angela Bassett, someone who kind of has that even Denai Guerrero off of Black Panther, who played Okoye. I would have cast somebody and showed the young, dark-skinned black girls that, yes, they are beautiful, because a lot of people, even in entertainment, they try to look down upon dark-skinned black people, and they try to, prop up, the lighter hues like me. Well, not really like me, but the lighter hue African-American. Yeah. Right. And it can even be attributed to slavery. Back in the days when slavery happened, the lighter African Americans would be butlers and all that. Dark skins would work in the fields. But it's crazy. I personally feel like Zoe Saldana should have recommended that to another actor, an actor who was more fit for the role, instead of causing a huge tidal wave on Twitter talking about, you're not black enough and all that. A lot of people call it light skin privilege, which I personally feel like doesn't even exist. Light skin privilege, to a point.
Well, light skin privilege is essentially how Zoe Saldana got the role, even if it's the simple fact that she is at the forefront of, I guess, some of the most popular African American now. So fact, statistically speaking, that role of that wasn't even a bargain. Yes.
Yeah.
Was just hers. Or actors that don't even look like Nina Simone.
Yeah. And I see what you mean by that, because like even there are a few actors in Hollywood that a lot of people will look down on just because of the color of your skin. I remember an actress, well, a comedian, her name is Leslie Jones. A few years ago, she got clowned on social media for playing, I mean, at least she was cast in that Ghostbusters movie. She was called like Gorilla and all that, like very racial stereotypes that a lot of people paint that picture on with African Americans.
Yeah, they were masculinized, basically creating her as this overly masculine example of a Black woman. You have to remember that media, and even before Leslie Jones was born, media was already that to Black women. She just fit. It's not necessarily the fitting of that, but I mean, she definitely just became that because she will reap the benefits of it in Hollywood. Right. I mean, typecasting is just a very negative thing in Hollywood. Definitely,
it really is. And even going back to the whole gorilla monkey thing, even I remember when I was little, I saw like little cartoons like of Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes, and all of that kind of portrayed African Americans with the big lips and the charcoal black type of skin, and we were portrayed as dumb, ignorant, very negative things,
Yeah, and that definitely transcends to right now, because that was a form of media, and right. Black children, all children that were consuming that were that idea of African American or this any ethnic person just being dumb or being really animalistic was ingrained at a very young age. So that's now, even with movies like the Nina Simone biopic or situations like that where they're not casting the right. Children, I mean, I would like to say that children are inquisitive, they're understanding, they're not oblivious to everything, and it's just like, well, casted just not even a popular like dark-skinned Black actress, but right. given a young dark actress a chance to play her.
Right, that could have been someone's breakout role, like you said. Like it could have been
to someone that looks like
right. It could have been like an Academy Award winning thing. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's just they were like, we don't really know what actor we can get. Let's just get the girl from Guardians of the Galaxy and Avatar. Boom.
I guess.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm not really casted someone different. Because it wasn't really her place to play Nina Simone. Only because she's doing Nina Simone a great disservice. Because Nina Simone was not only a singer, but also a civil rights activist.
Yeah, right. She walked alongside, I believe, Malcolm X and many people, Black Panther Party, and one of my favorite songs, Strange Fruit, she was talking about the killings. Well, Strange Fruit was written by a teacher who was given, and then Billie Holiday sung it, and then Nina Simone. Nina Simone's like, I believe she's the most popular version of that song. It was about how slaves were being lynched and killed. Innocent people were being killed just because of the color of their skin, which sadly still happens today.
Definitely. It's essential to point out the fact that Nina Simone's life intersected with the civil rights movement. That's very important. And because of that, Christian's right, we should have done her an even greater service by casting someone that actually looks like her in this film, because that emulated everything that that's fought for, essentially, or at least parts of it.
Yeah, and it would show the progression of Hollywood, because Hollywood, let's be real, Hollywood back in the day was extremely prejudiced. When you look at films from like the 1950s, and I would even say 1920s, even though I don't think films were made that era, but very prejudiced. Not a lot of diversity, not a lot of, ethnic people. If you had a Black person, he would either be a thug, a drug dealer, anything like that. Slavery movies were very popular.
Yeah.
What are you about to say?
Yeah, and even in earlier movies, slaves like Gone with the Wind, Hattie McDaniel was typecasted for years, and I think even before Gone with the Wind as a slave, and even although she was the first Black woman to, I think it was an Oscar she won.
Yeah, she was the first Black woman to win an Oscar for, I believe, Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, but yeah, she was still typecasted after that. So even as I guess make these progressions, we've definitely progressed. We still have to fight to make sure that everyone has a space. I mean, film is an art. We have to make sure that everyone has space in this art. Even though we treat it like an industry, it's an art as well. And we have to represent all people in this art and reflection of life. And make sure that they're getting served. Like
exactly. You know, it's important to have that representation in film and art in general.
Mm-hmm. But there, so much.
Oh, what were you saying? What were you saying?
Kristen? Oh, what's Kristen?
Yeah, were you gonna say something, Kristen?
No.
All right.
Keep talking over each other. Good. I can hardly see right now. Okay.
Right.
Like.
We'll improve. Just the first episode, we got it. So let's see. Now, all right. So we basically talked about all this. Basically, Straight Outta Compton is another example of how Black men were very characterized as thugs and stuff, even though they were trying to fight for their rights. Like Achonti said, Blackish was a good example of that as well. Now let's talk about a song that I just think is kind of weird, kind of polarizing. We all love Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, WAP, and all that. But I just find it kind of ridiculous that a lot of politicians are like talking about the song, and it's like, this is art. You're in politics, just focus on that. You know what I'm saying? But do you think you two can kind of come, like, well, educate me on why people hate the song and even an analysis of the song? Wow.
Kristen, would you like to start first? Honey, what were you about to say, Kristen? No. Well, I'll kick it off.
Wow. Put me on the spot.
I mean,
I'll kick it off, kind of, sort of. I think in general, people have a problem with accepting the duality of Black women in the States, or like, I guess, Black women and the entire diaspora, but specifically in the United States, is so toxic because the representation of the Black body it's become a form of media. It's become not necessarily even a form of art. It's just become something that we can pass off to each other. Other races pass off to each other. I can get injected. I can get this injected and recreate the idea of a Black woman. But Black culture, that's toxic because we tend to hypersexualize people. And I think Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B deserve duality. They do.
Yeah, they do.
They're not just, they're not. And I think that's so offended by the song. I mean, I don't think they need to be offended. We're all desensitized to these explicit lyrics. I mean, we've been here since I was a child. I don't know about y'all, but I
mean, listen.
I don't know about y'all, but but I'm essentially, I think at one point I was desensitized to it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people can be desensitized to these types of songs and all that. Like, same with Achonti, I grew up listening to some real stuff, you know, right? Hearing it and stuff. Like, when I first listened to rap music, I started saying the stuff that they were saying, you know, cussing, all that, you know. So it was just like, dang, you know.
Yeah. And if you treat music as a form of art, I guess, even though I know a lot of people are like, what the fuck? But if you treat music as a art, these artists are trying to outdo each other with the graphics and explicit lyrics. It's just, it seems to me at this point like a competition. So WAP was inevitable. It's bound to happen. And now we have this song called Throat Baby. what is that song called? What's that? I forgot who wrote it, but I think that's that.
Okay. I know you might flame me for that.
And someone's about
but
to.
That song is low key fire though. But even
No.
that, even when I hear that, it's like, what are you doing?
And
like,
that's the point. Why is it fire? Why is it fire to you?
It has to be like the beat.
You love that beat. It's something you can dance to.
Right. The beat is fire. The refrain is pretty cool. That little, when he tried to be like melodic and stuff, I'm like, okay, that's cool. But it's like the lyrics is like, I don't want to hear this.
We enjoy the technicalities of this music. I mean, it was a pretty good composition. I like dance to it, but at the expense of that, we lose meaningful lyrics, I guess. We
right.
A lot of that. So, I mean, y'all trying to turn up and get down, but y'all can't be mad when Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion comes out with a bop, but y'all don't like it. That is too explicit.
Exactly. And even going back to like meaningful stuff, like you could listen to the baby talking about he'll slap somebody and kill somebody. Oh, and then you can listen to like Kendrick Lamar sing about me, I'm dying of thirst, where he's talking about, are y'all gonna care about me when I'm gone, when I die, you know? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I ain't gonna lie though. Like, the beat is fire on that song. The refrain, but even going back to WAP, like the sample is pretty cool. Like there's some in this house. I'm like, okay, that sample is pretty fire, but this is when I hear it, it's just like,
yeah.
And even watching the video, it was just like,
yeah.
Ugh.
So need to bring that up was just to point out like the minor hypocrisies of that, because I've constantly been exposed to explicit content.
Same here.
Lyrics, images and stuff like that. So it's just like, now for y'all to say something about it, now
it's like you too late.
Being hypersexualized, now for y'all to bring that up, like,
right.
This is an ongoing conversation. This is not.
This really is.
I'm sorry. Whap the fuck no.
right. But yeah, it is a really, like, this conversation, I think it's very intriguing. Just the fact that Black women's bodies have been pretty much exploited marketed for damn near forever. And the fact that y'all talking about this now, it's like, y'all too late. Y'all late to the party.
Whenever the, I guess, best-selling artist comes out, sometimes first things people say is, damn, she's just doing too much for real. Her whole ass is out. Her whole bleep is out. All this other stuff.
People had that. Yeah, exactly.
And people are craving for the next Lauryn Hill, the next Erykah Badu, the next sensation that kind of emulates them, that whole genre of R&B.
Yeah.
Like, we're in a stage right now where this is the only that you want to see. Or, I mean, Black women that you want to see. But for me, what his how we continue to just continue to formulate the Black female body. How can we make money off this shit? That's wrong, bro.
Even there are other artists who were ridiculed about that too. Nicki Minaj was having that same conversation. Beyonce, that exact same conversation. Like, when I remember when Lemonade came out, it was like, okay, you talking about female empowerment and Black Lives Matter, but you wearing skimpy outfits and dancing very sexually. I'm like, y'all shut up. Like, for real. She's an artist. You're supposed to enlighten people while also entertaining people. That's just me when it comes to that.
Yeah, you do make a great point. And going back to the duality of Black women, I wanted to say, do you guys feel like female rappers are allowed duality, Black female rappers specifically?
No, I don't believe they're allowed duality, because rappers like Cardi B literally talk about Bernie Sanders, talk about ICE, and talk about personal hygiene, and yet they're not recognized for it unless they make it into a meme. And for Megan Thee Stallion, she's a law student. She's going to university doing classes on top of her music career, and no one recognized that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not to say that they know how to make money off the Black image, but essentially this is what the people are asking for. And even before that, they were performers. They were just regular people with their own secular opinions. So I guess, are we the creation of the monster?
I don't think
He boxed themselves in.
I understand. See, I get where you're saying, like, box yourselves in. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like your whole career, you talking about that. You talking about some vulgar stuff, and then you talking to Bernie Sanders. It's like we really can't. Like, for me personally, I can't take somebody seriously when you talking about, yeah, I'm messing with some WAP, and then you go Instagram live in a suit talking to Bernie Sanders. I'm sorry, I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like if who can I? That's like if Lil Wayne made a song about police brutality, and then he comes out in an interview saying, "Oh, I really don't mess with Black Lives Matter and none of that." Like, what? Same thing with even ASAP Rocky. I remember people were dragging him about that. It was like, okay, you up in Europe, at fashion shows and all that, but the neighborhood that you grew up in, Harlem, it's like crime rate up here, police killing people, all that, and you're not even gonna support it?
It's a discussion I've actually been, not to go off topic, but it's a discussion I've been having with my family and friends a lot of the time. They, an artist that actually champion the Black Lives Movement or Black empowerment, or just, I guess, emboldening the communities and bolstering them. The same ones that talk about that and put this into their lyrics aren't doing as much as they can. They're not using and implementing all their resources.
Yeah.
I mean, be putting money into recreational centers, putting money into the education system, and putting money to actually create beneficial recreational centers. I mean, putting money into programs and your neighborhoods where children benefited from those programs. It's just, there's so much that you could do.
Yeah.
They're doing talk and not a walk, and not a lot of walk to me, especially since we're from Atlanta. I mean, I'm waiting for them to come back to the communities and do something meaningful. Not just come back like every Christmas, not just come, what I'm saying?
Exactly. Since both of us are from Atlanta, I truly understand. Like, we want like the big name artists like Migos and all that, Lil Baby to come in. That's why when Lil Baby did that Black Lives Matter song, I was like, okay, that's cool. This dude is literally, he went from talking about owning Lamborghinis and rocking Prada to,
but we shouldn't
over
them for that either.
Right. Like,
we should not them for that either.
Right. I understand that too.
Keep talking.
To talking about, he wants to inspire people to stand up for themselves while he's here, while he's still alive. And I respect him for that,
Yeah, it's definitely respectable.
The fact that he was one of the only Black artists to come out and be like, yeah, I'm talking about why our lives do matter. Not saying that we the only ones that matter, that we're all human.
Yeah. And another thing I was talking about, besides the issue of these artists not coming back to their communities and doing supplying them like with sustainable resources and I guess like programs, besides all that, I was saying that a lot of these artists are actually perpetuating microwave activism. You guys know what microwave activism?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically when some sort of social disorder happens, everyone just hops on a bandwagon and they're spewing out all this literature. They're spewing, you need to do this.
They show like clips of James Baldwin and stuff on their Instagram pages, like, and then like a few weeks later they're gonna delete it off their Instagram page.
Yeah. For you to have all these young followers, you should have been inspiring authors, inspiring them to do all this research and inspiring them before all of this as a Black person. Now it's not isolated time to speak on the issue. If you really cared about it, you would have been doing this. We cannot would have been doing this. I'm not trying to be too critical of them either.
No, you're being informative. You're being informative about this stuff needs to change. But
I mean, that's one of the things that needs to change is microwave activism.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I'm going to introduce my children to formative African American literature at a young age, because I think that's important, because it's going to not necessarily just inspire them, but remind them the meaning of everything that we're doing right now and the ways to do it.
Yeah.
Because protest isn't the only way. You have to change this institutionally.
Yeah.
Not just with protest. It's a lifelong dedication.
Yeah.
All the spaces and bureaucracies you exist in is institutional all the way. Like, I'm not trying to people. I'm not trying to be like rude or anything, but it's a life.
You're not. You're not being rude at all. Like,
indoctrinated in me, like from my grandmother. It's very important to me that I put the entire African African American diaspora in front of me, and know that throughout my life I have to make contributions, and that
absolutely.
I have to how to make contributions, and even when in the way I raise them is a contribution.
Yeah, definitely. Very powerful.
So
any final thoughts? Okay.
But there's so much more to talk about. There's so much.
There's so much. We gotta continue this. This.
This too. Like, we're being really terse about this right now. I'm sorry for watching. We're trying. Like,
what are you about to say, Kristen?
Yeah.
So you're basically saying that education is the key to empowering our communities?
Yeah, education intersected with resources like money, and with that money creating better programs and education systems, resources for people. Exactly, resources.
Because even Nelson Mandela said that education is the most powerful weapon a person can have. You know, a gun, no. A sword, no. But education, that's more powerful than anything.
Yeah. You know? And so yeah, I didn't want it to just be like explicitly or like specifically education. But how rights are introduced to people. It needs to be introduced to people in a, not just as here, like American government, as a democracy, we have the chance and choice to create change and all this other stuff. But as a way of, for me, it's not just something that I just try to do one day. It's something that we should always be thinking about.
Definitely.
Should always be wearing is that, I mean, if it is democracy, we are allowed to change, and it's malleable. It's malleable, and that's something that should be indoctrinated in children from a young age. Not to sound like an anarchist or anything like that.
Nah, definitely. But yeah. Any final thoughts on this topic, and then we'll move on to the last topic?
I can't believe we were talking about WAP and we got all the way to this. That just
I know we just went. That's crazy. Like, we just went from a song to like educating the next generation how to improve themselves. Like, that's great. Yeah, but that's great.
Yeah, we definitely have to. I have to do some more research on this and maybe come back in the next video, because I wasn't explaining things the best way that I could.
No, you actually were explaining stuff really well. But yeah, we definitely have to continue this topic in future episodes. Okay?
Yeah.
And now the final topic is the problem with contemporary art regarding mainstream appeal. Now, basically, the reason why we were talking about this topic, or I introduced this topic to you guys, is because of the whole, not only because of the WAP thing, but is that art has been very construed and very, looked down upon on mainstream appeals for their artistic value and that expression. That many people try to silence the lack of expression that many people have when it comes to art. People like Robert Mapplethorpe, who a lot of people accused of homosexuality because of the certain pictures that he created, was like the male body and sex and all that. So it's kind of crazy to think that these topics, these very taboo and controversial topics, are relevant now.
Yeah. So are you saying that the general public isn't enjoying art in the same way that it was before? We're not being critical?
The general public is not accepting, is less accepting of, the black Black women expressing their bodies more instead of how they kind of were expressed back then. Homosexuality not being, is not being looked at as just we're all human. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Let me look at this for a second. So you're talking about this mainstream art.
Yeah.
Sort of, and how we express the intersections people exist at in art.
Yeah.
In media. Oh, that's a good topic. Me and Kristen were, I think you remember this, Kristen. We were talking about how, I think it was this short film on this YouTube channel called Leto. It was, I forgot what film festival it was showed at, but I really liked the way that they just normalized being a queer person. And it forefront of their identity. It was an intersection. They're human, they're men, and they're also gay. They like other men, or they're also bisexual. They like, it's also not I'm just this. And I think that's important in media as far as the LGBTQ conversation goes.
Yeah. And it's a very important topic to have, I think we just gotta have to continue both of these topics in future videos, But
Mm-hmm. But what other conversation were you bringing up about the mainstream art thing?
Yeah.
Just how people weren't as accepting of a person going out and experimenting with something that people might deem, controversial, like, homosexuality and all that. That's basically it.
Mm-hmm. Are there any films, like current films or anything like on a streaming platform that kind of does that? Like people have backlashed over because the way that
there's Moonlight.
Yeah, that's one of the films I was going to bring up, the Moonlight, where people didn't really accept the main character, but he had to find out who he was and, evolve as a man.
Yeah, and people, do you mean like the audience like viewing the film, or actual people in the film, or both? Because the audience itself are the people that he was interacting with, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The others in the film, I guess, we are the people that he was around.
Yeah.
Like the audience was. But that's something that we definitely have to work on, normalizing the intersections that people exist in media too.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely got to work on that.
Mm-hmm. And as far as what you like to see, this kind of goes back into the whole Tyler Perry situation, where he wasn't allowing to be a board of writers and have a general consensus on what the Black experience in this is. Yeah. I feel like a lot of the times box people up and make them overly too much of this. It does show it does capture a sense of pride, I guess, but it's in a comical way. Some people just want to watch a regular TV show and see a regular example of like a Black person, or not an overly flamboyant version of like a gay person. People want to see that, I guess. So I think a lot of times, when creating media like this, that's what the problem is. Not having a variety of writers and not coming to some sort of general consensus about what do we want to show people, what's appropriate for now.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you gonna say, Kristen?
Stick to archetypes of these people instead of going off of real people's real life experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, and is that our fault? Are we comfortable with archetypes? That goes back to WAP.
I don't think so. But it's like let's try to break those stereotypes like down. Let's like throw those out. Like, not all Black people like that. You know what I'm saying? Because when you brought up Tyler Perry, I always think of his movies as portraying Black stereotypes.
Struggle up.
Exactly.
Yeah, true. Literally, a mad Black woman.
Exactly. Like,
not discussing the reason.
Not.
But like, not going.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of discussing them, but not really going in the way. And we can't expect too much from a Tyler Perry film,
exactly.
I guess, or we can't expect too much on these reflections of life, I guess, but we do expect progress. We express emotion.
Absolutely.
I guess, and media,
but,
especially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely gotta have this conversation. All of this that we're bringing up, we definitely gotta have to explore it more in future episodes and stuff like that. But yeah. Any thoughts? Any final thoughts?
Not any coming to mind right now, I guess.
All right. Yeah. Any final thoughts, Kristen?
No.
Well, I guess that wraps up our first episode.
All right. It was fun or whatever.
All right. See y'all.
Bye.
See y'all next episode. Peace.
See y'all next episode.
Yeah.